Hoorah! All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another. Almost said horror reaction. This is not a horror reaction. I almost did. I just been watching horror videos kind of back to back. That's how I record a lot of these things, just back to back. Maybe I could change up the shirt so no one would know. Show no one would know. Like Shohei? Alright, I don't know what I'm even talking about here. Anyways, today we're watching MLB players who celebrated and paid the price. Like celebrating too early or just celebrated in general. You know, I don't know. Look, we're gonna hit this like button, watch this. Bam. Baseball. How does it do that? That's amazing. Amazing use of AI. I love that. Alright. Let me not drag out this intro too long. Let's just get right into it. Baseball doesn't exist, even though it does exist. Give them the love and credit they deserve for making this heat. I love this Let's learn some stuff.
Celebrating like this is illegal. Celebrating like this was made illegal, and just last year, MLB banned this celebration.
What?
They may seem harmless, but celebrations like these have cost people. Celebrations have cursed franchises. It ruined this player's career.
Okay, that was
this
unnecessary.
guy's career, and he wasn't even the one who celebrated. These players celebrated, and it cost them
Bryce
their
Harper's
season.
always getting into
But
fights.
most of the time, celebrations just lead to this. Celebrations
Throwing
at a
fist.
cost in baseball. It's usually a fastball at your ribs, and that's if you're lucky. From 1909 to 1920, 4 minor league players died after getting hit in the head with pitches. Nolan Ryan hit 158 batters in his career,
What?
the 15th most ever. Admitted many of them were on purpose and was only ejected once. He
Wow,
once nailed
that's-
Robin Ventura on purpose.
But I'm not gonna lie, that's a piece of fucking shit. 34, Ryan, you a fucking asshole, dude. You do not deserve the millions of dollars. Like, bro. Fucking dickhead, bro.
Put him in a headlock, then beat him repeatedly, and didn't even get ejected.
That's
he stayed
insane.
and pitched the rest of the game. This kind of stuff has been accepted throughout baseball history. David Palmer once had a problem with Gary Carter because he did a curtain call. He thought a curtain call was unwarranted and braggadocious. For payback, he hit
Braggadocious,
Darryl
huh?
Strawberry
Never
with
heard
a
that.
pitch. Strawberry wasn't even the one who did the celebration. He got pissed, charged the mound, a clash occurred between two entire
boy.
teams, and somehow nobody, not even Strawberry or Palmer, got ejected for this.
Okay,
Speedballs
wow.
and retaliation for celebrations has been a part of baseball forever, and it happens to this day. Just last week, Randy Arozarena made the Rangers irate after he stepped out of the box before the pitch even got there. The
Wow.
next pitch, he steps out of the box again. On the third pitch, he did it again. There's 3 balls. The Rangers don't want to walk him. After stepping out 3 times, they know Arozarena isn't swinging. The pitcher knows he just has to throw any pitch right down the middle and he will get a strike. So he throws the slowest fastball he's thrown all year right down the middle.
I'm about to say, he's probably gonna-
Arozarena swings and hits a bomb. He pretended like he wasn't going to swing 3 times in a row to trick him into throwing a very easy pitch.
About to
Then
say, that would
watched
kinda
the
make some
homer,
sense.
Pointed to his dugout, took 33 seconds to round the bases. As the Rangers chirped him the entire time, the catcher had words with him and he proceeded to pull off a 360 directly in his face. And predictably, the next time he came to the plate, the Rangers nailed him with a pitch. Arozarena calmed down his bench, avoiding further consequences. But Bryce Harper didn't do that.
Yeah,
His
Bryce Harper does not do
celebration
that shit,
ended
bro.
up ending a
He's
player's
always
career.
getting
In
into
2014,
fights.
Bryce Harper hits this bomb off Hunter Strickland in the playoffs. A few days later, he hit another bomb off Strickland, who got mad at Harper for standing too long in the box. Strickland said something to Harper. Harper looked at him a little, then when he got to the dugout, started yelling at him. This was such a big deal for Strickland that the next time they faced each other, 3 years later, he still wanted revenge. He threw at Harper. Harper charged the mound, threw his helmet, threw punches, and everyone went
Good
crazy.
God.
Harper paid for this.
Look at the umpire in the
celebration by
back.
getting
Did you see
helmet,
him? He's
threw
like, yeah,
punches, and
nope, I can't
everyone
do
went
this shit.
crazy.
Nope.
Harper
All right.
paid for this
Too late.
celebration by getting hit, but the biggest casualty was Michael Morse, his former teammate, who was on the Giants at the time.
Damn.
During the ruckus, Morse collided with Jeff Samardzija, got a concussion, and wasn't able to play for the rest of the year. Already on the back end of his career, he never got another chance in MLB again. This concussion ended his career for good, all because of a celebration 3 years earlier.
That's
There's
actually
many reasons
insane.
why celebrations are so taboo in baseball compared to other sports. It dates back hundreds of years. In the early days, professional athletes weren't really a thing. If you played baseball for a living, you were pretty much seen as a degenerate. They got paid nothing, were drunk all the time, and fought constantly. Hall of Famer Cap Anson famously chased a pitcher out of a stadium with a bat. A Boston Bean Eater once kicked John McGraw in the face during a play at second base. This started a bash so intense that during it, someone in the stands started a fire. While the teams were fighting on the field, the fire got out of control and burned down the entire stadium. It spread across Boston and destroyed or greatly damaged over 200 buildings, and
all just for some chaos.
1,900 people were left homeless. To this
That's
day,
actually sad.
this is one of the biggest fires in Boston history. In the late
What? That's one of the biggest Boston fires?
To this day, this is one of the biggest fires in Boston history. In the late 1800s, an umpire once broke a player's arm after hitting him with a bat during a game.
What?
This umpire just so happened to also be the president of the league. Yes, the president of the league filled in as an umpire and hit one of his own players with a bat while doing it. This kind of stuff was obviously bad for business. So when the National League formed in 1876,
Good God,
they
catch it
put
with
an
your bare hands.
emphasis on getting rid of debauchery, getting rid of drinking, getting rid of gambling, and marketing the game as a family-friendly event. Going back to baseball's roots as a gentleman's game. Showing up opponents with
That's
celebrations went against this image, so celebrating became taboo. Over 100 years later, the National League is still around, and the family-friendly image they began with has been ingrained in baseball culture ever since.
Naturally.
It's one of the many reasons celebrations are more taboo in baseball than most other sports. For example, the NCAA made taunting in football a 15-yard penalty. They made taunting in basketball a technical foul. But in baseball, taunting results in an automatic ejection, and that means celebrating towards an opponent, celebrating towards an umpire, or even a bat flip is banned in college baseball. Yes, in the year 2024, college baseball banned bat flips. These players all got ejected for doing this, but nobody paid a bigger
they're just
price
excited
than this kid. In a conference rivalry game, up by 3, the Gators brought in their closer. The bases are loaded with 2 outs. This is the biggest out of the game. He strikes out the batter to get out of the jam, got excited, yells towards the other team's dugout, then puts his head down, starts walking back into the dugout, knowing he also has to pitch the 9th inning. Except he doesn't pitch the 9th inning because he got ejected for this. Luckily, they didn't really need him at the time. They hit a home run the next inning, pulled away even further, and mocked the umpires by doing an anti-celebration going into the dugout. Unfortunately, this pitcher also got suspended for this celebration.
What?
Couldn't play for 4 games and missed the biggest series of the year to that point. They went on to get swept by the number 6 team in the country. But this couldn't happen in MLB because they don't have a rule against celebrating. It's an unwritten rule. It's policed by players. Celebrate too much, there's a good chance you get a ball thrown at you as hard as humanly possible. But in spite of this, some brave players have fought back. Typically, you have 2 options. Go to first or charge the mound. However, Reggie Jackson found a third option, which will likely never happen again in baseball history.
Oh boy.
In the 1980s, he had a massive target on his back. This pitcher threw a pitch up and in to intimidate him, a regular occurrence for Jackson. He challenged the pitcher to a fight and had to be carried back to the dugout. But
hey, we're gonna
Jackson
fight. We're gonna
still
fight
wanted
right
revenge.
here,
So
right
when
now.
He came up to the plate later. He did something better. He hit a bomb, stared at it, and celebrated around the bases. Then after he touched home, he charged the mound. Reggie Jackson might be the only player in history to charge the mound after hitting a home run.
I gotta see that again. He was like, "Hey, yeah. Oh, by the way, you thought I forgot about your bitch ass? Come here."
Reggie Jackson might be the only player in history to charge the mound after
I mean,
hitting
the
a
score's
home
on the
run.
board, so.
Jackson got a cut under his eye and was ejected for fighting against the unwritten rules. These are rules that aren't in the rule book but are still enforced in other ways. Players used to not be able to bring their wives on the road. The Diamondbacks had an unwritten rule that allowed certain players to use the team's best bathroom. If you had less than 3 years of MLB experience, you had to use the team's bad bathroom.
What?
And unbeknownst to the Dodgers, there was even an unwritten
I'm using whatever
rule
bathroom I
against
want.
bubbles. But before we get to that, did you know there used to be an unwritten rule that banned how much lunch a player could eat? Eating too much lunch would result in a player having to run until they puke. But that was before they invented Factor.
way.
Now players don't have to worry about it as much. This meal service delivers healthy, fresh
Oh,
meals
ad?
directly to your door.
Okay,
Baseball
I see you
players
with the
in
ads.
the 1800s
That's cool. We're
would
gonna
have
skip it, though.
literally
Factor.
do it right
Get your
now.
discount.
In 2013,
Do
the
it right
Dodgers
now.
had a plan. They would win a World Series and immediately after have a foam party. Unfortunately, they lost, so the foam party was canceled. But Andre Ethier was really looking forward to the foam party, so he suggested the Dodgers get the next best thing. For months, he requested that the team get a bubble machine, and after months, they finally got a bubble machine. Eventually, the bubble machine made its way into the dugout, and then eventually they just started using the bubble machine every time a player hit a home run and began dancing to it.
Cool.
Soon enough, the entire stadium caught on and began blowing bubbles every time someone hit a home run. Then randomly, the bubble machine disappeared. MLB had stepped in and banned the bubble machine. However, there wasn't an actual rule in the rule book that could justify not being able to use a bubble machine. MLB acknowledged this and just said, quote, "It just doesn't feel right." But with no
And I didn't think it was
actual
appropriate.
rule, the Dodgers realized MLB couldn't do anything about it. So they brought the bubble machine back. And thanks to the Dodgers fighting back on this policy, today MLB dugouts are infested with props used to celebrate. It seems like almost every single team has a signature home run celebration, but not every celebration is allowed. In fact,
Oh, hello, hi.
You stupid.
They're not.
What's 9 plus 10?
21.
You stupid.
Love you. All right, my bad, y'all. My sweet mother walked in.
are infested with props
I was about to say.
celebrate. It seems like almost every single team has a signature home run celebration, but not every celebration is allowed. In fact, this one is banned, and many people think it cursed this team's season. In 2013, the Orioles started pieing people. After walk-offs and post-game interviews, they even pied their own fans after clinching the division in 2014. Adam
that looked
Jones
like it
would
hurt,
pie
though.
mascots. A local pie company even began sending them real pies to use on the field. This seemed like harmless fun until 2015, when after a go-ahead 2-run homer, Steve Pearce got to do a post-game interview, was pied in the face, and injured his lips.
About to say, that looked like it
Owners
hurt.
found out about this and decided the pies were too risky. That offseason,
I mean, yeah, you're smacking someone in the face just about, like, no shit.
they banned the team from doing it. Fans were pissed and so were the players. Adam Jones spoke out against the ban, and the first chance he got the next season, he pied Matt Wieters in the face after a walk-off in April. But once again, the Orioles put their foot down. There wasn't a pie for the rest of the year as the team had a disappointing season and an embarrassing loss in the wild card round.
Oof.
The next year, the team got off to a hot start. They were in first place and the pies briefly returned. Then once again, it disappeared. In the meantime, with no pies, the team got destroyed and fell to last place.
He
And
does
out
not
of
look
nowhere,
happy.
In July, they got hot again. After a walk-off, a pie returned. The next week, Manny Machado got 2 pies. Then Dylan Bundy got pied 3
That shit looked like that fucking really hurt, dude. It was probably sped up, but
returns.
God,
The
Lee.
next week, Manny Machado got 2 pies. Then
Look at
Dylan
this, look at
Bundy
this. Bam!
got pied 3 times after a complete game shutout. Wellington Castillo got pied by his own son. Then Mark Trumbo hit this walk-off. The Orioles, who were at one point in last place, were now only a game and a half back of a playoff spot.
That's crazy.
During his post-game interview, he was warned, looked somewhat annoyed, hit by a pie, hit by another pie, and the interview ended abruptly. Immediately after the game, news broke that the Orioles, once and for all, banned these pies for
No
good.
mass pie. Yeah.
Everybody blamed Trumbo. Yet, this wasn't even his fault. He didn't even mind getting pied.
Oh,
and
okay.
The Orioles just thought it was too dangerous. A pie was never thrown again. Immediately after this ban, they lost 20 of their next 25
Good
games
God.
and finished the season in last place. The next year,
Wow.
they had the worst record in baseball and didn't have a winning record for 5 more seasons. All because of this one pie that cut Steve Pierce's lip. But even that can't compare to this celebration, which set off a chain of events that led to one of the biggest collapses in baseball history.
Oh boy,
In
and
2007,
it's the Mets too, huh?
had high expectations.
Yep.
They were delivering, and at the end of the season, found themselves 7 games ahead of the Phillies on September 12th. They were 7 games up with only 17 left to play.
Okay.
They proceeded to lose 11 out of their next 15 games. Going into the second to last game of the season, the Mets needed to win to keep their season alive. They swamped the last place Marlins. But in this process, Lastings Millage and Jose Reyes did this celebration. Along with this and some other celebrations, the Marlins got offended. So
Ooh.
later in the game, they threw at the Mets. The benches cleared and everybody calmed down. Except for this guy. Miguel Olivo was notorious for altercations,
Oh, boy.
famously telling a reporter in spring training that he wanted to be a boxer like Mike Tyson, but without, quote, biting somebody's ear off. Then, several months later, got in a fight in the minor leagues and literally bit someone's ear off. Olivo never
What?
played in MLB again after that, but in 2007, he was in
This dude said, I want to be like Mike Tyson without the ear biting. And the fact that he...
his prime.
I
and
can't even
unhappy
speak.
with
That's just
Jose
crazy to
Reyes,
me.
who he was actually
irony in
friends
that.
with from the Dominican Republic. Reyes was talking to the Marlins, joking around. Olivo didn't think it was funny, charged him, and started an all-out clash. This is happening the day before the last game of the season.
Oof.
A game that if the Mets lose would seal one of the biggest collapses in history. It should be an easy win. They're playing a last place team on the last day of a season. A team like this would typically just want the season to end. But because of this beef, the Marlins were extremely motivated. They hated the Mets and say this fired them up. So in the very last game of the season, in the very first inning, they scored 7 runs against future Hall of Famer Tom Glavine. Literally the worst start of his career. The Mets stranded 8 runners in 3 innings and ended up getting smoked 8-1 to seal the end of their season.
Wow.
And this small celebration may have made all the difference. Back then, anything like this could set a team off. This guy celebrated a homer, got thrown at, and kicked a catcher in the stomach.
Oh my
A
gosh.
few years later, Prince Fielder debuted one of the coolest walk-off celebrations ever. This is remembered and beloved in baseball.
That's pretty cool.
But even he got nailed by a pitch in spring training
ate that pitch, though.
because of it. The
He
Dodgers
ate it.
once clinched a division title in Arizona. They celebrated by swimming in their swimming pool in the outfield, leading the CEO of the Diamondbacks to complain and reportedly scolded the team's manager for not having his players throw at the Dodgers for this. When their GM saw the Dodgers celebrating a home run by eating a banana in the dugout, he got even more mad, saying he wanted to hit them with a baseball himself.
Bruh.
Today, this would never happen. Teams use props, pip homers, and almost everyone has a signature celly for base hits. You're less likely to get hit for it, but these celebrations are still dangerous in other ways. And this guy became public enemy number 1 in his own country because of it.
Oh,
King
boy.
Baek-ho became one of the most controversial players in Korea after he was caught on camera chewing gum and looking disinterested while losing in the 2020 Olympics.
I mean, yeah, if you're
was
losing.
so embarrassing for Korea that this was national news. So leading
Wow.
up to the WBC, Korea and Kang Baek-ho were determined to fix their image. The team fell behind in their first game and needed a rally. And in the 7th, when the team needed him most, Kang Baek-ho hit a clutch double, celebrated, came off the bag by an inch, and was tagged out. The next batter got a hit that would have scored Kang Baek-ho if he hadn't got out at second. And since Korea ended up losing by 1 run, that was the difference. To make matters worse, Korea ended up not making it out of pool play. If they would have won this game, they would have made it out of pool play, meaning that this inch might have literally cost them the WBC. Kang Baek-ho, who was already controversial in Korea before this, was blamed, has received non-stop criticism, ridicule, and hate mail ever since.
Okay, the hate mail is a little unnecessary. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's so extra, dude. dude made a pretty fucking big mistake, but like some people be so extra like psychotic behavior with it sometimes. I mean, I'm just saying, just it's not that deep.
Because of this
It sucks.
celebration,
It
making
really
it
sucks,
perhaps
but
the costliest celebration of all time.
golly. But like people be threatening other people
This
over
guy
it, like
got
that's
caught
insane.
cheating.
Can't stop it. Ooh, I gotta watch this one next. Holy crap. Okay, well that's that. Another great video by Baseball Does Not Exist. Doesn't exist. It does exist. It does exist. I'm gonna start calling you Baseball Does Exist because it does exist. Okay. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for watching. If you liked it, give the video a like. You have to give them their like. Baseball Doesn't Exist because this is their content. This is their video. They made this. They took the time and effort to do all this. I'm just reacting to it. So that's that. I hope you guys enjoyed. Take care, stay safe, and be good people. Yeet!